Hello folks, this is Maro, and today I'm with you to present a video which I made in approximately 20 hours, and it's a video of an artwork, which I drawn based off of an original piece of art back in the 80s from an old board game. It's called Hero Quest. So, and the reason why I've done this is because it's something that it's dear to my heart, and it goes all the way back to my childhood. It's something that inspired me to become an artist. So I always wanted to see how far I've come, and this is it really. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please like, subscribe, and comment of any suggestions you might have or anything. It's all good. So enjoy. All right. So yeah, first always start with the outline for this type of drawing, at least. I mean, usually I would just block out the areas of the characters and then draw within them, but to create the silhouettes. But because I was working off an existing artwork, I was trying to use that instead as a reference and redraw everything as accurately as possible. So yeah, I started off with Barbarian, as you can see, and moved on to the dwarfs and the orc beside it. Then proceeded with the mage and the zombies. One thing too that I found that was a bit of an issue, I think, with this is that with the original concept, I think the background and the proportions with the background and the foreground, so the barbarian respect in the position to where the guys in the background are, I think there's something not quite right. And if I wanted to sort of keep exactly the same, I think, feel of the composition, I didn't want to change too much, so I didn't really try to fix that. Instead, I just went with it. You know, I just kept on going and see where I could sort of bring it to. Yeah, you see, I every so often I picked the small guys in the background and trying to scale them, trying to do something about it. But if you're an artist that knows a bit about perspective, you'll know that there's just something not quite right there, and the main guy always looks really huge, you know, not like he's big because he's in front of the camera, but he looks just big. And yeah, so at this point I started coloring in it. I mean, usually I would black and white the whole thing and then add color at the very end and then paint over those colors to get it right, but here I wanted to give it a different effect, like it was literally just painted like on canvas. So I wanted to do it the way that I believe it would feel the most authentic, basically. So yeah, I started just blocking out every character's color, you know, drawing a bit of shadows, and yeah, started applying the lights. And with the lights, this is also a bit tricky, because I think in the original concept the characters had some kind of light of their own. They weren't really respecting a lot of the lights in the foreground. They were more like almost as if they had their own spotlight. So it's kind of hard to try to, it's almost like as if you know you're doing a mistake, but you need to keep on rolling with it. So, you know, I kept on doing it. I kept on respecting what the original concept did with the lights, and so yeah, continued this way. And yeah, I try to keep the barbarian hairstyle as close as possible as to the original, because of the sort of 80s sort of cover. Yeah, like a painting, you know, the Frazetta's paintings. So with the fringe and all, you know, like the Conan fringe. So I wanted to keep that, since I believe that's what's on the box as well. At this point, I've actually opened up another document on top left, so that because I'm zooming in and out and rotating a lot of canvas, you wouldn't be too nauseous and trying to follow it. So you can just follow the top left if it becomes too much for you. It's a bit tricky to do it. I mean, probably the best way would be just to have what I've done and then capture just the window instead of capturing my canvas, I guess. But well, you know, maybe next time I'll think it over. So yeah, at this point I really wanted to get the feeling of the barbarian right, because he's really the main character in this story. That's one of the problem with the original box, is that it's meant to be a co-op game where everybody is as important as one another, but here really what you get is that the barbarian is the hero. Nobody else matters. They are all in the background doing their bit, really. So, you know, the little dwarf and the elf is like really far off into the distance. Like, you can barely say it. If you don't know his existence, you probably would never know he's there. So I changed a little bit the wizard also design, because the original wizard, it felt like it was okay. It's just that I just wanted to change it just a little bit so that he feels like he has less of a pyjama on and more of a robe. And yeah, I also did not want to give it the sort of gloves that makes him look like a Ghostbusters. So instead of tucking his sleeves into his gloves, I gave him like loose sleeves, you know, a bit more like a wizard would do. And about this point, you should be able to see what I'm talking about. And yeah, I also made his gown a bit longer, because the way it was before, it made it look like his pants were jeans, and it's just a bit strange, you know. But it just felt very, I don't know, a bit out of place, I suppose. I just wanted to give it that sword and sorcery feeling, and I think it just needed that small tweak, you know, without trying to modernize it, because I think the point of this is to try to make it look retro. And you know, there's plenty of, you know, modern fantasy with designs which, you know, tries to be very creative and very new and original. But what I like about this type of design is that they kept it very simple. It's like it's not trying too hard to be something like we have never seen before. It's more like it's telling you, I'm a wizard, I'm a barbarian, you know, I just, you know, I put this on in the morning and do my job, and that's it. It's not a fashion competition, basically, you know. So their clothes are more of a reflection of the world they live in, I would say. Like, in a sense, they almost feel like it's the most realistic approach to a fantasy when you see clothes like this. Because I think if a guy in reality, he walked with these beautiful long robes that all swirling with the wind, and, you know, these crazy patterns all over the place, I think he would just look ridiculous, really. I mean, not saying that this would look less ridiculous, but I don't know, it feels like the other guy, he went to Gucci and asked for a dress, while this guy, he had it done by some poor lady that works at the, you know, the mill or something, and they just, you know, made it wizard clothes and it just made it for him, you know. I don't know, it just feels a bit more in line with the world. And yeah, the elf as well. The elf, yeah, I gave it a bit of a, I suppose a bit of a David Bowie thing. But like, you know, in the Goblin King, the Goblin King in Labyrinth. But I think it's just that the haircut that the Goblin had was a bit, not the Goblin, I mean the elf had, was a bit like, I don't know, a bit like a mop stuck to his head. So I just wanted him to look a bit slightly more stylish than he was originally. Just, I kept the original pose, didn't change that. It's just his hair, though. A lot of games also in those days would do this. You know, a lot of especially the Game Workshop games would try to give it this punk-ish hairstyle, this rock rather hairstyle. In fact, the closest I can think to this elf is the elf war dancer from Warhammer Quest. It's got a very similar vibe to it, very rock, very 80s. And the dwarf, yeah, it's got this really funny German helmet on, and I didn't want to change that, so I kept it. But I did just alter a little bit the look of his axe. You know, I just wanted to feel a bit more unique, since the Chaos Warrior had almost the exactly same axe as him, and I didn't want to, I don't know, I wanted to have a feeling like dwarves have his own axe rather than just stole it from a dead Chaos Warrior, you know. So yeah, just gave it a slight difference in design. Yeah, and the Orcs, that's another mystery for me. I don't know why the Orcs, they all look so different from one another. Like, it's like they're all different species. Like this Orc with the on the archway is huge, is massive compared to the Orc that is fighting the dwarf. And I know that in the game workshop world, like the old world, Orcs changes sizes depending on how old they are, so they grow the more they're older, I think, and they basically die from combat rather than old age. So the really experienced Orcs are really huge. But I don't think this was a thing at this point when this character was drawn. So I just think it's just drawn really huge. Likewise, there are two Orcs in the archway just behind him, and one just plain up looks like a troll almost. It's like this really huge naked Orc. I'm not sure if this was on purpose or not. Yeah, and the skeleton, good old skeleton. It's just I never understood really how fantasy skeleton moved without tendons holding the bones together. I would assume that you would hear a lot of scraping, the bones scraping to each other if it was magic, and would be a lot of floating bones. The mummy, good old mummy. You don't see games these days having mummies anymore. I think mummies is such an old concept for a monster, but I don't know. I really love the idea of mummies in games. You know, they just feel so. I don't know. They can be really creepy, like seriously creepy if done right. You know. Yeah, this Orc has got its massive mouth, and notice how all the teeth are actually pointy, and they don't have like the incisors, you know, all the like human-like teeth with really long canines. That's what usually Orcs have. I think most of the Orcs have right now. They're just all pointy and nasty. Like a bite from this guy is just not gonna feel nice, basically. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and the thing about these guys is that they also have chainmail, so they somehow feel like they're organized. They can build their own stuff, right? While people now always think of Orcs as savages and, you know, brutes, but these Orcs here feel like they have this sort of organization where they have their own weapons and their own clothing even, which is find it fascinating, really. And yeah, here I was trying to mimic as much as possible the original Orcs in the distance. If you are familiar with the original HeroQuest box, you can kind of already see from the thumbnail, the smaller one, that it already has the look of it. It's already, you know, the colors are there, the poses are there. I think, yeah. And Chaos Warrior, this big guy, the Chaos Warrior, it's always been a favorite of mine as a kid, just because I like guys wearing like really massive armor, like really scary guys. And I have no idea what the symbol on his piece of armor is. It's like a devil's head, but I don't really recognize the symbol from any Game Workshop lore thing. No idea what that is. I suppose maybe it's an older thing that maybe they dropped over time, or maybe it's just relating to this one instance of HeroQuest, really. Oh, and I like this Orc here is the only Orc that has this this helmet, this Hun helmet. I really like it. It's like it's got fluff and all. Again, it just shows that they are organized here. They must have some kind of organization to have uniforms and, you know, specific weapons. I mean, it could be that maybe you looted it off a dead soldier, but I don't know. It just feels way too clean. Everything feels way too like it's been made for them, you know. Considering especially the size of the head of the Orcs. The magic effect, that was quite fun, actually. That was the least hard thing to do for me. I just love to do stuff like that, like lightning bolts and things. The technique to do them, it's very simple really. You just block out the colors and you just dig into them. And yeah, we got here Skeletor, rather the Witch Lord, I think he is. Yeah, it's kind of funny how he has Skeletor face but a very muscular body. It's it's a mystery to me really. Yeah, but and the zombies, yeah, I like these guys. They were so creepy somehow, and yet they don't look as rotten or as decrepit as modern zombies do. These zombies, they just basically had green skin, but they looked like really angry old men. There was something really creepy about them, almost like Frankenstein type of monster, Yeah, it's hard to describe why they made me feel so creepy. I was so creeped out by these guys. But maybe it was also the fact that they just even had proper haircuts and all. Yeah, I suppose you can say it's the when you're playing football with your friends outside and you knock over somebody's with a football and then the old man screams at you. That's why. Maybe it brings back memories, I suppose. And yeah, for a lot of these things, like you can I get a lot of these really cool effects with the brushes they use in Photoshop. You can get really nice effect for the walls. You can get all this like solid stone. You just need to, same way you would do with a real brush. You just need to tap it and you would get all this nice texturing over it without actually the use of textures. Yeah. And that's another thing, like we lost the earrings of barbarians over time. It was so iconic from those days for a barbarian to have those golden loophole earrings, but you don't see that anymore. Overall though, it was a lot of fun, really. Really enjoyed it. Hope you guys that you have fond memories of this also like it. Yeah, it was a challenge. It was a good challenge. Took me a long time to do, and my neck was in so much pain to draw. I drew straight on almost, every evening. It was a long process, and yeah, here it is. So once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you really enjoyed it, and till the next time.